Conversation with Lady T and JT. It's time for Candid Conversation. Conversation with Lady T and JT. Check out the show. Check it out.
I can't help it. Every time I hear our song come on, it just gets me in the groove. Check it out. Check it out. Hey, y'all. Hey. Welcome to Candid Conversations. I'm your girl, Lady T, and we're here live on Oak 93.5 on your FM dial. But if you are streaming live on Facebook, then you can see I have two beautiful women with me. It's your girl, the hostess with the mostest in the house.
Yes, and this is her faithful sidekick, your girl JT, who is having severe technical issues, whether it's with my camera or with my Missy Elliott shirt. So before we went live, I was telling Dr. Bryant, because I said, oh my God, this shirt looks cute in person, but on this screen it's giving, I'm gonna flip it and reverse it. And I'm like, I don't like that. I'm telling you, I looked at myself when I got dressed this morning and it's cute, just not right here.
Cute, girl. You're giving us Missy, but it's cute.
You look good, Janet.
Yes. Girl, these shoulders though. I mean, I'm telling you, I'm making a statement, just not the one I want. But listen, today we have a phenomenal guest with us. She actually has been with us before. It is Dr. Kisha Bryant of Enliven Counseling and Consulting Services. And so, Dr. Bryant, we welcome you to Candid Conversations.
I'm so glad to be back. So glad to be back, and then looking forward to the candid conversations that we are going to have today. So thank you. And people, let's get ready.
Okay. Absolutely. Listen, you're no stranger, and we told you when you came that we couldn't wait for you to come back, and we're just elated that you had, you could slide us in on that busy schedule, y'all, because she's booked and busy. You're looking at a woman, I tell you, you put the time in, and your business is blooming, and we want to hear all about it. You can help us out on today, Doc.
I'm here.
I think you can tell us what your Jan, you asked her before the show what her specialties are and things that you actually deal with in your business. So we want to start there. We want to know how you can help the people.
So Enliven, we pride ourselves on really working with individuals and organizations on wellness, emotional wellness, mental wellness, really making sure that you are healthy and whole. And so the target populations that we really focus in on and that we have a love for are women who are in transition, women who are in leadership, leadership wellness. Those really are the places that we really try to land our hat and to give a lot of support to work on and focus on resilience and alignment. In alignment, we mean external and internal alignment so that you are whole, so that you are centered, so that you are good.
So Dr. Bryant, one of the reasons we were so excited to have you come back to the show today is because as we are gracefully aging, women in particular deal with a lot of stress. And we know that stress is a silent killer. And so we told our audience today that you'd be talking to us, having a candid conversation as to how we navigate through stress. And so of your focus areas of women in transition, women in leadership, leadership wellness and organizational wellness, let's take a step back and talk about women in transition. Okay. What does that mean exactly?
So transition, any type of life transition. And so that can be if you're an empty nester, if that could be if you are going through a divorce, that could be if you are transitioning career wise. So maybe job loss or relocating. It could be transitioning to a new role. So you may have going into a caregiver role. So because you have an ailing parent or you may have an ailing child. So any type of transition that you may be experiencing that is a huge shift from your norm to where now you're having to adopt a new normal.
That's good.
I think that that's really good. And so, I think that as we get older, there are and I'm going to use a word, you correct me if I'm wrong, Doc. But there's some insecurities that we deal with as we are aging as well, such as like job transition. Because though it is never verbalized, it's stated in different ways that there can be discrimination based on age. And so if you've been in a career or owning a business, for a long period of time, and you decide that you want to make a change, that's not something that is taken lightly, I beg your pardon, especially when you have a lot of responsibilities. You just can't say, I'm going to up and quit my job because they're stressing me out and they're pushing me to an early grade. It doesn't work like that. From my own personal experience, it's like you just kind of stress, you pun intended, you stress out about it, but you stay right there because you've got so many other things going on. So, what are some strategies that you would suggest for somebody who is dealing with someone in transition, as it relates to job transition?
And so I think one of the things that I would suggest is first count up the cost. Why are you transitioning? And then you need to come up with a transition plan. So, what is the financial plan? Where do you want to see yourself in the next 3 to 6 months, or the next 12 months, or the next 2 years? Because with transitioning, it may require that you have to go back and get schooling or some type of certification, or you may have to get some more professional development for what you're transitioning to. What are the things, if you transition, how is it going to make your life better? So, what are the positives? So, really do a pros and cons list, count up the cost before just giving your 2 week notice. You need to know what's the impact going to be for this transition, and not necessarily a negative impact, but what would be the positive impacts? Will it free you up to be a better parent, a better spouse? If you are balancing as an entrepreneur in a full time job, does it allow you to go into full time entrepreneurship? Does it allow you to do more and expand growth in other areas? So really scaling to see what the growth would be, but really having a transitional plan and being intentional with your transition, if it is career related and job related.
I think that's good. And listen, if you are in the comments, we want to hear from you. We're talking about women in transition. And one of the 3 areas she talked about was divorce, caring for an aging parent, and job transition. And so we're talking about job transition. So Oak 93.5 listeners, thank you for tuning in. But if you are on Facebook Live, we definitely want to hear from you in the comments. Lady T.
That's exactly right. And I think when you were talking about job transitioning, Kisha, we can call her Kisha, you all, but you put some respect on her name if y'all see her out there, because she's earned that. It's okay. No, but Dr. Bryant, but anyway, I appreciate you, Kisha. But like you were saying, job transitioning, and I guess we also mentioned aging parents and becoming, sometimes that position just becoming yours, even if you have multiple siblings. Sometimes they're not able to help, and that's a lot. I mean, I don't think people understand the responsibility, the heavy weight that comes along with it, and they're our parents. Like, right, I told someone the other day, I heard them get real short with their aging mother who has dementia. I mean, he was like, and I'm like, wait a minute. You know what I'm saying? She changed your diaper. She was there for you. Now she, her memory is short. That's a challenge. I get it. I get it. But what do you suggest? Like, other than, we push and we encourage each other, but as in your field, what can we do to help and support that person? Or, what I'm saying, when they become that caregiver and maybe not have any other support, and it's all on them.
So I will look to see what the community supports are, because there are groups that do help with like caregiver supports in your community. So if there are local groups, are there local centers like senior centers that, depending on the age and the mobility um, of your parent, that you could tap into, that are free resources that offer things that, one, give them some type of socialization, but also gives you time and a break. Also, I think one of the things that we forget is that our parents, sometimes they're shifting too. And so where they may have been an independent parent, where they may have had a job and for whatever reason can no longer work. Maybe they have had loss in regards to I think about my dad, and all of my dad's close friends have died off or passed away within the last 5 to 10 years. And so
Mm,
understanding that their social group may have changed and who they may have confided in, it may not have been you. And so now you are that person. So really having a level of patience, and you and your parent working together, having those conversations when frustrations are high. What can be the compromises to their needs? If they're when do you all need to have separation and time apart? And that just made me going into another room. But talking through those things and understanding that you are shifting into the role, but they're also shifting into a new season of life.
mm. That's very true and that's good information. I have, I guess, because we're women of a particular age, so our age group we're becoming that
Yes,
group, right? And our friends are becoming that group, and you don't want to not be show empathy and support. But goodness gracious, you can really put yourself thin trying to be that person for everybody. You know what I'm
yes,
saying?
yes,
So yeah, you reach for the community for support. I guess even it may be even a good idea if you need a Keisha Bryant or
yes,
if you're driving, right? It's
yes.
okay.
Because they do have therapists who specialize in like geriatrics. They specialize in just different types of things, so they're specialty areas. And so just like you have therapists for people who are going through different sicknesses and different life transitions, there are therapists. There are groups, support groups for people who are experiencing like caregiving support groups. And sometimes you need to be in a space to know that there's somebody else going through the same thing. When you're
Yes,
in those communities, in those spaces, you learn about other resources. They can tell you about people who maybe can come in and give you in-home care to relieve you, that may fit your budget. There's so many resources when we just talk to one another and network with one another. So the thing that I would warn against is really doing it in silo and feeling like no one understands where you are. Um, so really tap it into community, and because we are in different communities, what is your work offer? What is your faith-based organization offer? What is your local regional area offer? What is the hospital offer that you may be partnered with to help with services? So just asking. A lot of times hospitals will have social workers that will help if it's a funding or a financial issue. There's so much support out there. We just have to ask and not be afraid to tap into it and not be afraid to ask for the help when we talk about
that
doing all things and spreading ourselves thin.
that's good information. I don't think a lot of people realize that. I deal with a lot of families just in the business that I have, and just I empathize with them, and here I am trying to be the Wonder Woman for everybody, and I'm like, but there are support groups, there are other agencies, there are other places I can tell them to go, and they can
Yes,
get this help, right? So this is
absolutely.
good information, and even at the hospitals, like you mentioned, social workers and patients, good
Yes.
information. So I appreciate that. Janet, we had a few comments. We want to say good evening to everyone that have
Good
tuned
evening.
in. Thank you all so much, Sister J. I can't see anybody else before then, but I think I
Yes.
saw my
So
mom.
Janelle Branch, who is a faithful, candid
Yes, she
conversation
is.
listener. Thank you, Janelle, for tuning in. And Mama Julia, woo-hoo, she is
Hello,
also
everyone.
faithful. So we appreciate you ladies tuning in. And hello, Aunt Janice. Thank you for tuning in.
All the J's are here tonight.
Yes,
Yeah,
all the
right.
J's.
Jay, Julia,
All
Janice.
the
Hey,
Julia, Janice, and Janelle. We are here for
right.
it.
We are here for it. We appreciate you all so much for tuning in. Again, Dr. Bryant, Keith Bryant is not a stranger here on Candid Conversations. He's been here with us, I think, last year. We're glad
Yes,
you have chosen to come back with us today. And we're just having girl talk. We are fully grown women, and we are here to talk about it, ladies, because we do know that stress kills, and it's a secret, and it's not cliche. It really is a
it
silent killer.
does.
It really will take you out of here. It does things to different bodies parts of our body. It gives you more than just a headache. It wears and tears on your body. So thank you for helping us. Thank you for bringing us a minute just to sit down and woosah a moment.
Look, there's power in the pause.
Power in the pause.
Power in the
Hello.
pause. Sometimes that's what we need to do. Step one is just sit down. As my mom would say,
Yes.
sit down somewhere.
Sat
So
down. I told my mama that I think I told my mama that just a couple of
yeah,
days ago. Sat down
yeah,
somewhere.
sit down. Power in the pause. Yes.
Well, speaking of the pause, Dr. Bryant, you also talked about women in leadership. And that is always a very delicate balance because, women do hold a lot of leadership roles, whether it is professionally, in the church, in their families. And that carries a high degree of stress just because of how we internalize things. Can you talk to us a little bit about, how you help women in leadership navigate through, stressful situations?
Yeah, I think the first thing is really thinking about what's on your plate. And so, what are your various different roles as a woman, as a leader? And then once you identify your stressors, or you identify your roles, what can you take off your plate? What do you need to delegate? Because sometimes we don't trust people to do the job, so we do it ourselves, and that wears us out, burns us out. And then where do you need to get support from? So really just three A's that I like to use: an awareness of what it is that you need, what's going on, acknowledgement of it, because sometimes we are in denial that we need help and what's impacting us, and then the action. What are you going to do about it? And so, one of the things with helping women in leadership is really taking the break, taking the time. How do you restructure what you're doing, how you're doing it? And what does a break look like? A break doesn't always have to be a vacation, it could just be 5 minutes of your time. It could be setting boundaries. It's no is a complete sentence. It can be just telling someone, no, I can't do that, because sometimes we will give a yes and we regret that we made this commitment, but you didn't say no. And
Mm.
saying no without guilt, saying no without shame, saying no without an explanation. Your no is just your no. I can't do it. And not over explaining yourself. Um,
Woo.
so I think really being able to uphold those boundaries. We cliche say I'm protecting my peace, but really a way of protecting your peace is really upholding your boundaries and enforcing those boundaries. And boundaries could mean, if you are a woman in leadership, that you model the way that you have a hard stop to the end of your day. It means that you may not work on the weekends unless there's an exception for a project, but you're not working and bleeding your professional time into your personal time. Um, and so sometimes as a woman leader, really learning how to make those hard stops so that you can. It's self-preservation. And so we
Yeah.
model the behavior. People treat us the way that we kind of model for them. So if you are answering emails at midnight or at on the weekends, then as a person who receives your email, I'm going to communicate with you on the weekend. But if I show that, okay, there's a difference between Monday and Friday, and I take my weekends, unless it's an emergency, that would be an example, then so you have to model those things. So I think setting those boundaries. I also think not being afraid to ask for help as a leader, as a woman, when when you need people to step in to lighten the load, or if there's something that you don't know how to do, not being afraid to ask for that help. Competence is not necessarily knowing all the things. Competence is also knowing who to go to get all the things. And so
Mm.
as a woman leader, you don't have to be all things. When you come home, it's okay to maybe take the leadership off. Leadership can be in the workplace. Leadership can also be in the home, but pull in your children if you have children. How can they help based on their developmental level? How can your partner help if you have a partner or a spouse at home? So who's there to help you to do those things, especially if you're feeling burnt out? So those would be some of the things that I would suggest offhand. Listen to your body. That would be the other thing. As women leaders, we go, 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 and go, but we are tired, and we need to listen to what is what's your body telling you. If you're getting headaches a lot and you normally don't get headaches, why is that?
Right.
If your heart is palpitating and you getting nervous, why is that? If you are more short tempered with the people that you love and care for, or even at work, why is that? If you're having brain fog and can't remember things, or if your work is becoming sloppy and not as best as it normally would be, why is that? So listening to
Mm.
your body, listening, that's an indicator of stress.
Mm.
If you are hating to go to work or hating to go home, why is that?
Mm,
So really pausing, going back and pausing and just listening and being aware of what your body, what your mind, what your spirit is telling you.
mm.
That's
So I'm going to
good.
pause there.
There's power in that
The
pause.
power
Yes.
in the
Because
pause.
the pausing gives us clarity. It gives you clarity, a chance to hear, a chance to slow down, breathe. Because sometimes you can go into the next thing and you haven't taken time and you need clarity and you have fall because you're not taking time just to sit and to slow down, to shut it off.
Mm.
And don't
Could
let
Mm.
be
nobody
something just
know.
that simple.
Yeah, just to shut it off because you need it.
Yeah,
You
we
need it.
do. And we feel like sometimes as women, we can just go and go and go and don't want to say no and don't want,
Hmm.
this, and I think I seen Janelle say, repeat what you said. There is power in the no.
Yes.
Yes.
It's a complete sentence.
It's a complete sentence,
Hmm.
and I don't think, and I think sometimes some of us more people that have is full of empathy for others, we have a hard time saying no. I sometimes do. I'm
Hmm.
better than I was before, but you know
No,
what I
she's
mean? I'm
not.
practice.
She's not.
I like to think that I was better than I was. Janet, you got a nerve, but we got to go there.
I had someone to ask me one time to think about why are you saying yes to the things that you're saying yes to? Is it because you're trying to feel validated? Is it because
Mm.
you don't trust somebody else to do it? But what's your yes for? Because if you're saying no and you really don't want to say yes, then why are you making this commitment only to be internally struggling or internally fussing yourself out, the people out? If you had just said no, um and that's okay, and being okay to know that you don't have to be at everything, you
Yeah.
can't be at everything because
No.
self-preservation is real.
Yes.
It is real, it's needed.
Yes. Yes. Uh,
Oh, I like that.
Kesra.
I have learned that no is holy. Amen. It's the sha na na. Yes. Yes, it is. Because you know what, Jesus, he took time to steal away.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can y'all let me
Yes.
go? Yeah, he took time. He modeled.
Yes. This is so true. And you just
Yeah.
have to be intentional and let the chips fall where they may. That's kind of where I'm at right now. Like seriously, I've done that for the last 2 weeks. I'm like, you know
Mhm.
what? This is how I'm gonna move. And I'm moving like that. And I'm
Mhm.
kind of liking it.
Yeah, it's
And
needed.
and see, I'm the complete opposite. I feel like my life is a train and it's got all these cars on it. And in every car has a purpose and every train has a stop. And if you miss that stop, you can't slide on my train at the last minute because
Uh-huh.
it's going until it
Going.
stops.
Okay.
And then once it stops, it's like, okay, I'm gonna recalibrate, but then I do it again. So that, and it's just years of being conditioned of I got something I gotta do all the time. And there's
All
no
Okay.
the time.
it just is.
Mhm.
I get that. Keisha, help us.
Yeah.
What's wrong with
So,
us?
but you have to know when to. I think building capacity in people. Who else can do it? So, because you're not the only one, because just like when we
That's
think
true.
about a job, so we were talking about job transition earlier. They post vacancies all the time. Person retires, resigns. You're not the only one. They ask for people to cross train, or they have a manual or standard operations procedure, or when the next person comes they usually want you to leave, kind of how did you do things so we can train the next person.
That's right.
Because if you're not there, so you keep going and going and going, or anyone, and for some reason, if a health thing happens or something happens with you where you can't be there, if even if it's just like a modern operation because you break your pinky toe,
Mm-hmm.
while you're out, someone's going to have to
Somebody's
do
got to
that
do it.
role. Yeah, you're going to
Yep.
put your out of office. We have people, unfortunately, that we work with, and they may pass away, and we go to the service, but it doesn't keep the job posting from being posted. The work still goes
Right.
on. And
That's
Yes.
so you
true.
have to decide, I think, as women, as leaders, as people, as individuals, as Christians, um, are we going to let people burn us out, or are we going to take care of ourselves?
Mm,
Yeah. I
And
do think
that's the thing that we have to know when to stop and being okay. And I think also being friends of people when we have people in our circle, we have to make sure we have to normalize that it's okay to take the break. We don't need to make people feel guilty for needing time off. So as leaders, we need to model that behavior. So you hear about people taking sabbaticals, or they take a week long vacation, or taking, we don't need to shame people for taking time off. They needed a break.
right,
And it's
yeah.
right,
okay. You don't have to justify your break. And your break might be that you just at home for the week. It ain't that you in international. You haven't gone to Greece or Africa. You've just been at your address, watching TV, cleaning your house, or just sleeping in late.
yeah, I mean,
It's
that's so
okay.
good.
It's
And
okay.
that's so good. But what is it when you're trying to do that, right? But you can't shut it off. Like you like, oh, it's something I gotta be doing. I need to be. I should have been. That need to be done. Those clothes over there got to be.
Yeah. I think you
You
can do
can't shut
so.
it
I
off.
think do it in increments. So it doesn't have to be where, if a week is too much of a commitment, do a day. If a day is too much of a commitment, start with half a day. Start with an hour, baby steps. So I like what Janet talked about where you have mini carts. And so you got a full train, then you ain't gonna shut the whole train down, but you may take a cart. Which cart can come off? Can one thing come off this week?
Right, right,
And then when you want to put that cart back on, can you swap it out with a different cart? So baby steps. So it very do things in increments. Um, and it not have to be something that's like a complete overhaul. So you don't have to go to 0 to 100. I'm just gonna take a full sabbatical and I'm gonna be off for 30 days. Maybe not, but you can
right,
be off for 3 days. You can be off for a day. You can take a Friday,
right.
and 1 week. You can take a Monday and do an extended weekend. Maybe you need to take your Monday because you had a long Saturday and Sunday, and so you just need Monday to recuperate. Okay, all right.
Hmm.
You're not taking the whole week, but you take a day,
A
or
day.
you go in late and you use your time to go in. Okay, I'm gonna go in at 12 and work 12 to 5 instead of being there at 8 o'clock, or I'm gonna work 8 to 12 and get off because I need the end of the day just to go home and rest.
And that sounds so good. And sometimes, Janet, correct me, but sometimes you feel like if you don't like, we're involved with a lot of different things, right? And you
Hmm.
feel like if you don't, appear to this one or show up for that, then you're just gonna let that person down or let this down. And like they have no idea. You want to be faithful to everything. You want to be, committed, but it's stretched so thin. So I think everybody needs to understand that people have lives and we have a lot going on.
It is, and I think it's like balance and priority,
Yes.
and what requires you to be there, versus can the show still operate with or without you there, and that again, then that means that we need to put systems in place to help with that. So systems to if you're the only one doing something, who can be a cross-trained person? Who can you build capacity in other people to do? Also making sure maybe there are things that need to be reported out, or are there optional ways? So like today, you have in person versus virtual, and so some things may not require you to be in person, but you can
Right.
show support virtually. Then also fear of missing out, trust in the people that you work with. So sometimes we have what they call FOMO. We fear that if we're not there, we're not going to get it all. But sometimes you just don't need to be there and you can sit this one out. Now, I'm not telling people to go back to work and say, you know what, Dr. Bryant told me don't show up, don't come. No, I think you have to prioritize. And you
Right.
have to balance it and you have to do it in increments. If it's a major project and you're the lead, then you need to be there. But is there someone that can help with the setup? Is there someone that can help with the things leading up to it? Is there someone that you trust to help facilitate the meeting? And you can just be a support person in the meeting. So how do you shift those roles and you're not having to lead everything? Is there someone who can make the agenda and that's a task that's off your plate? So small things. Where can you
Yeah.
look to see where other people can help, or where you can use technology? We're in a time where AI, how can AI help you with some things with fidelity? Um, but how can you use
Right.
other platforms that can better assist you with your time and your management, so that you're not having to be there and be all things for all people?
Tell you, it's hard. It's hard. Jay, can you hit the comments?
Yes, we've had several comments, Dr. Bryant. And you read the one. And so, first, we want to say good evening, Darlene Springs. She is watching, she is
Hey,
tuning in.
Darlene.
She just
Happy
celebrated a birthday
birthday.
on Sunday. So, we wish you a
Happy
very
belated
happy
birthday.
birthday from
Yes.
Candid Conversations, Darlene Springs. Reverend Kezra Marshall. Good evening, Reverend
Good
Marshall.
Hello,
evening.
Reverend Marshall.
But when you were talking about the sabbaticals, Stacy Austin said she's been doing a lot of sabbaticals,
Hey,
and so
Stacy.
that prompted some chatter in the comments with Reverend Marshall saying that yes, you need to you need to take some vacations, and Belinda wrote that wow, she really needs a vacation. So there's a self-awareness there about needing to take some time to recalibrate and to get a vacation. And Mama Julia wrote, some things are just not that important. Do the most important things first.
That's
Look,
true. That's true.
we're gonna take that wisdom from Mama Julia.
We
Yes,
take that wisdom.
Yeah,
yes.
we're gonna take that
Casey said she
wisdom.
want to be off a whole year.
Me
Some
too.
people do that. Some people pack up and they go to other countries and they leave for a year. Again, intentionality, count up the costs. What's your plan? What's your plan?
That's true.
And different people's plans look differently. What's your
That's
plan?
true.
What's in your budget? What's economical? What do you need? Really, just what is it that you need, and what does that look like? Because one of the things that I learned, there are different ways that you even vacation. Some vacations you can go to a resort and you don't need to do a whole bunch of different excursions, because sometimes you can be on the vacation and you still come back tired and you need a vacation from the vacation. And so you need to think about what is it that you
Yes.
need when you talk about needing vacation, needing time off. What do you want to accomplish? What type of
Mm.
rest? There are different types of rest. You have spiritual rest, you have physical rest, you have emotional rest, social rest. So there are
Mm.
different types of rest. And when we think about just rest and pausing, what type are you needing? Because you may
Mm.
not need the physical, you may just need the mental. So that means you
Right.
might need the social. Maybe you've been doing people too much and you're peopled out. And so your
Yeah,
social battery has met its quota. You may need physical because you're doing too much. So you really
Mm.
just need to identify what is it that you need when you set out to take a vacation, and make sure that it answers what your needs are.
Mm.
oh,
Not
that's
just to
really
say that you're
good.
taking it and you're just going away. What's the intention? I know this year I use myself as an example. For my birthday, I went did a solo trip away instead of going with my girlfriend group, because I just needed time with Kisha. It was a busy season, professionally, personally, and I just needed to be by myself, sit by the ocean, and just hear myself, and not have to cater to anybody's agenda when they wanted to get up, where they wanted to eat. It just needed to be all about Keisha.
Girl, I did the same thing not too many weekends
Mhm.
ago.
Mhm.
Some people don't get it. It's not that we don't love them and we don't want to be with our peoples, but
Uh-huh.
sometimes you just have to take that
Mhm.
time. And it's good and it's healing. And it gives you not only time for that, but you got time that it clears your mind. You can
Mhm.
think about not only relationship with God, we can be, and all that, but your relationship with your friends, with life
Mhm.
in general, what's
Mhm.
important, what's not. What needs to be priority, what doesn't. I mean, it's a wonderful thing. I was like, I never did the beach by myself, but that was a what? I had invited one of my classmates because she lived near there, and she texted me. I guess she knew I needed this time. She texted me the next day. She was like, I'm not gonna come. Yeah, she knew. I was like, this is
Yeah.
just you, that water, and just come. Don't have to worry about nobody complaining about the price at the restaurant. You got 18 people. You got to wait for the table. No, what table for
Yeah. Just one.
one?
Just
It's a
one.
beautiful thing. I'm telling you, some people can't do that,
That part.
and
Yeah. But I think
should.
you just have to be intentional. Just what are you seeking with the break, with the pause, with your need?
Yes. Yes.
Um it starts there. Just really doing an assessment of what you need.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So I knew Julia. See, sometimes you just can't
It
talk on
comes
the
out.
on your radio station when your mama get on here. They have to find out stuff later from me. I knew it. It just comes out. Yes. And look, then her birthday is coming up, right? So she already threw her little hints. I like some more, what I like. This is
Uh-huh.
my birthday. She loves the ocean. Wow, we working it out, girl. We got you. We got you. I got to start blocking her from the show.
No, absolutely not. We appreciate your viewership, Mama Julia. You are
Can't
not
do what she
blocked.
on here. I'm trying to help somebody.
But I think sometimes when we feel like, and I forgot the analogy used that like if we're not doing it, it won't be done right. Sometimes I think that's wrapped up in pride, and we've got to understand. Listen, you can't burn both ends of the candlestick either, because eventually there's no more wax.
That part.
There's
Very
no
good
Yes.
more
analogy.
wax.
Right.
Very good analogy. And you just think about other functional things. A car, when the gas is out, it stops running. Or you start having repairs because you're not taking care of it. So if you don't take care of what's under the hood internally, let's use that analogy. You don't take
Mm-hmm.
care of what's under the hood, then you have oil problems. You have your head gaskets, your alternator, whatever. Um,
Mm-hmm.
if you just don't pay attention to it, you start having leaks. You start having just your car gonna runs hot. It's the same thing when you think about you as a human, and if you're not taking care of yourself. So you can't
Right.
run on fumes.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
You can't
Right.
run, batteries have a life. So every so often, you have to change out batteries and things that we use for functionality, whether it's a remote control, whether it is a device. If you on our laptops, we're on our laptops now or on virtual devices, but you have to charge your phone at night. It needs rest.
That's
Your
true.
laptop has a, if not, it will go out on you. And so everything needs rest, recharge, the things that we use for functionality to do our things. They have to rest, and every so often they have to get repaired, they have to get upgraded, they need tune-ups, they need
Yeah.
checkups,
That's
all the
right.
things.
That's
They
right.
get a 2.0 version. Um, and so even the things that we use to help us to do our operational things, they too need recharging.
Mm. That's a
And
good
they
way to
too
put
can
it.
be replaced. We think about, I think about even like smell good. So you run out of a bottle of lotion or different things, then you go either get a new fragrance, your perfume, it can be replaced. You so that means that we can be replaced if we don't take care. There's always the new, the latest, and the greatest. So if we don't take care of ourselves and do those things, we can be replaced.
Mm.
yeah, that's so true. That is so true. But there's one thing that cannot be replaced,
Hmm.
and that's your health.
Amen.
Woo.
That
And
part.
And so, Dr. Austin, women, again, who are in leadership, who are in transition, they typically tend to internalize how they handle their stress, whether it's, it just builds up and then your body reacts, like your analogy with the battery of running, of dying out, meaning the battery dies out, not the individual. Or you stress eat. And so then, that triggers other things in your body because, your body is out of whack. But I know you said prior to us joining the show that July was a Minority Health Awareness Month.
Minority Mental Health Month. Yes.
Minority Mental Health Month. Thank you.
Yes.
Do you find that Black women in particular they carry a higher degree of stress?
Well, Black people in general, the research shows that we carry high levels of different ailments that can be connected to stress. So when we think about heart disease, when we think about high blood pressure, those type of things, those are stress related or can be stress induced things, or can shoot up if we are not monitoring and maintaining good healthy habits. They can show up. And we know things like high blood pressure is a silent killer, and so it's not something that you may have high blood pressure forever and not know it, and be functioning,
Right.
but you could be slowly corroding away inwardly. And so,
Mhm.
yes, as Black people in general, but even more with women, when we're not taking care of ourselves, then we think about the weight gain. It could be hair loss. You see people who are losing hair because they're stressed with bald spots. It could impact our mobility. And how we carry stress in our bodies. And so you might be stress can be compartmentalized in your body. when you think about headaches, when you think about if you're having problems in your back, sometimes you go for a massage and they'll tell you that you're tense in certain areas of your body, and that could be where stress is being compartmentalized in your hip area.
Mm,
If when we think about inflammation, um, and we think about blood vessels and blockages, all of that can lead back to stress. Especially,
mm,
and there's a difference in acute versus chronic stress. Chronic stress is where you really need to be concerned, because that means that it's prolonged and it's ongoing.
mm.
That's good.
And we need to stop and pay attention, and especially to our bodies. I think a lot of times we as women don't, because we take on so much and because we are so many things to so many people, we ignore signs and symptoms of our own body. And we're aging just like our aging parents, those of us that still have those people in our lives, and just like we see. So we do have to be intentional. I saw someone back in the comments say, be intentional about doing that. And you really do, because it'll never happen if you don't. It just will not. You'll find yourself talking about this forever,
And
you
not
know?
bypassing taking care of your own body as you're taking care of somebody else. So if you're breaking down yourself while you're taking care of somebody else, what happens then if you're gone? Then who's going to take care of that person?
It's true.
That's
Very
Or
true.
true.
if your body is failing while you're taking care of somebody else, then what's going to happen to that person who may not, who really does need your help? So not
Hmm.
forsaking your own health for or just saying I'll get to that later. I'll get to that later, because you're
Right.
continuously put something off, but really staying on top of your own health, and doing again increments, small things. Small things. If you
Hmm.
can't work out for an hour, but you have 30 minutes, you have 15 minutes, something is better than nothing. And one of my good friends always tells me.
That's right. There's a question in the comments from Mother Douglas. She said, can stress cause you to eat more? Sometimes people gain weight.
Yes. Yes, it can. Some people go and they will eat as a coping mechanism. So like especially unhealthy foods. So you might start snacking more. It just helps with your. Some people use it because it helps calm their nerves. They say. So if you are prone to eat more, then looking at what it is that you're eating, and so if you primarily maybe would normally get a eat chips, then can you substitute and do cucumbers or some type of that gives you still that crunch, but a more healthier option. If you're prone to drink more sodas, then can you cut back on the amount of sodas that you're drinking, or can you get a sparkling water that would be a substitute for the fizz? If eating is a coping mechanism, just swapping out what it is that you're eating um, in baby steps. And I keep saying
Baby.
baby steps because sometimes it can be overwhelming to do just a complete overhaul. You need to do things, but work your way up to where you want to go.
Right, because sometimes going cold turkey doesn't last. So I think baby steps is a good thing.
Yes,
With me particularly, you know what I'm saying. People when I go to the gym and they be like, "Well, what's your goal?" I be like, I want to lose about 70 pounds. I be like, wait a minute, okay. Then reality is, let me start with that first 15, and I work
yeah,
on up. You know what I mean?
that
Something
part.
I can see. So yeah, I get that. So yes, stress can cause you to eat more is the answer to that question. Is there anything else in the comments, Jane? Did you see?
No,
Because
no.
okay. 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 Dr. Bryant, other things you mentioned that you all, I guess, deal with, and I guess that's women in divorcing or
Hmm.
divorcing and how to navigate through that. Um, I guess I don't even know how to approach it. If you're in a situation like what we've seen lately and of are people in long marriages and marriages just falling apart, and it's been long-term marriages,
Hmm.
decades of marriages, and they're just falling apart. And so
Hmm.
you get to a particular age and you're like, wait a minute, I see myself at 45 or 50 back
Hmm.
here again. So do you help with those type of situations and
Yes.
cases?
Hmm.
Yeah.
So that goes
Okay.
with women in transition. I think, you- excuse me, I'm sorry. With women in transition, I think once you've exhausted all of your options, in regards to if you're transitioning out of a marriage, if you
Mm-hmm.
are in a separation, really again, not just saying I'm out, but being intentional, counting up the cost, not staying just to stay, but really, you make your vows for marriage, for better, for worse, rich or poor, sickness and in health, to death do us part. And so really first and foremost trying to uphold those vows. If something violates those vows, then being intentional with trying to first try to reconcile, try to work through those things. If it's something that is not able to be done, then you count out the cost to have a peaceful, as much as of a peaceful dissolve as possible. And
Right.
then again, putting together your plan, because it may mean that you're going to shift. For example, you may shift to having dual incomes to manage a household to now solo income. What does that mean for you? Does that mean that you are going to now have to creatively supplement your income? Does it mean that you're going to have to downsize? Does it mean that if you are going to have to take look at different ways to work career
Mhm.
wise? What does it mean if it involves not just yourself? So when you're thinking about divorce, what is the impact on your children?
Mhm.
And what supports will they need? And not being ashamed to get those supports. There is a wonderful support group that helps people called Divorce Prep. Divorce Care. That is a 13-week group similar to grief care that's offered. Is faith-based, but it's wonderful. But it helps you really to process the emotional impact of divorce. What are you
Mhm.
feeling emotionally? What are you feeling in regards to having to define and establish a new normal, who you are? Divorce doesn't define you. It is something that just happened to you. But who do you think you are, and who do you become? What do you do in regards to your social circle that may change, and how do you
Right.
navigate that, and what you're interpreting about yourself? I think also removing the mantle of shame for people who are going through divorce and putting your life back together. Really working with people, and women and men, with that, but also children, because they feel it too. Sometimes as the adults, we're
Yes.
navigating through this major life transition, and we forget about the impact as we're making decisions about custody and shared responsibility, what we will or will not do, the impact that it's having on the children. As a former school counselor, I see all the time the impact that parents think that they're protecting their children from, and you're not protecting them. They see, because we're living out loud in front of them, and the things that we either say or the things that we don't say. People can, children are aware of the changes that are happening in the household, just like the adults are. They may not say it, but they are aware. And sometimes it comes out in their behavior. Sometimes it comes out in how they withdraw. Sometimes it comes out in how they show up. Just think about the impact of how you're showing up. So just imagine what the impact that it is on the children, and they feel it as well. So
Mm.
yes.
That's good. That's good. Oh, Pastor Cooper, what an
Hey,
honor to
Coop.
have you, Coop.
Good
I
to
saw
see you
earlier
and
he
hear
said he
from
want to
you.
be a doctor too, Keisha. Dr.
Look,
Cooper,
you can. You can.
he is one in his own right. Thank you so much for being on, Cooper. We appreciate you so much.
Yes.
And Keisha, thank you so much for sharing and dropping these jewels. Because what we do know is that the shame factor of divorce, and it's just big in our community, especially in the community of church. And when you're dealing with organizations, that it happens. And it's life. It's life. It's part of life. And you just have to pick up the pieces and also use the resources. I think you named divorce care.
Uh-huh.
Is that a group? See, I
Yes.
didn't ever heard anything like that, but to be able to give someone that or to offer, that help to someone is a beautiful thing because, like you said, it doesn't just affect you. I heard recently over on something on social media. Well, what I think it was Portia, somebody from the Real Housewives, Janet. You can chime in on this. I think she was saying she was saying something like, "And I do what was good for me, and I did me," so we didn't stay together because she was making it all about her. But the man that was talking to her, he was like, listen, it's bigger than you. You have
Mhm.
children, you know what I'm saying? Why, so the picture is bigger, it's a bigger picture.
Mhm.
But again, you can't force people to stay. But at the same time, just know that there's help. There's help available to deal with the grief because I associate divorce with grief. I just so
Yeah.
you're
Yes.
losing something that you accustomed to for many those that have been married for some years. Those
Mhm.
are many years. People don't see that side of it, and they're on the outside looking in, and they're like, oh my God. And then when I see people who have divorced and started a new life, people
Mhm.
gonna talk about that. Oh my God, he with somebody else, and
Mhm.
he's doing this and he's doing that shit. Well, guess what? They were in a marriage that didn't work. They're not together anymore, so they're moving on. They don't
Mhm.
stop living. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? You don't stop
Mhm.
living, you move on if that has to be the case. But I'm so grateful for your counseling company, your counseling agency who can help
Yes.
navigate through these things. And if you all are just joining in, Dr. Bryant is the CEO founder of In Living Counseling
Enliven.
Enliven. I knew I was gonna say it wrong. Enliven, In Living, I'm sorry, Enliven Counseling and Consulting. So if you all need any type of assistance with going through, I think tell them again, Keisha, for those that came in late. Can you tell us again
So any
what you
type
all
of
do?
women in transition is who we focus on. Women in leadership, leadership wellness, so individual and organizational wellness, making sure that people are healthy and whole. So we really want to help people with resilience and alignment. So that alignment is external and internal alignment to make sure that you are centered and showing up authentically. You are not faking it. Until you make it, you are dealing with your stuff so that you are completely aligned and whole.
Ah, see, and that's what we want. We want to be complete. We want to be because we would call, a lot of us we want to be so much for other people, but at the same time, we can't if you're not giving, if you're only giving a part of yourself, you're really not being, what I'm saying? So I
Hmm.
just appreciate it. Now we have to stop for a minute, JT, because I know you see who is in our comments from all the way out there, over there. Our brother Marlon Bonds.
Yes, from St. Louis. Hey,
Yes,
Hello.
bro.
how you doing? Thank you so much for being on. He said there's some serious counseling material going on in this session. This is my first time on. Well, welcome to Candid Conversations. Proud of my sisters, Jana and Tanisha. God bless you all. And thank you so much. God bless you and your beautiful wife and family. We met
Yes,
Marlon some years ago traveling for conversation. And we've been glued and brothers and sisters ever since.
ever since.
Yes,
It's been
yes,
over a
yes.
decade, Tanisha.
Oh my gosh, hasn't been that long.
It's been
He
that
takes care
long.
of us when we over there too. I tell you, y'all.
Oh, but we love you. Tell Garland we said hello, Marlon.
Yes, please do.
But Dr. Bryant, I know we're getting ready to wrap up, but I wanted to circle back on divorce because it is such a sensitive area. Because we're talking about stress being a silent killer and how to navigate through those things. Tanisha said something about, people talking about the after effects, like, oh, they've moved on or what have you. But I don't know, before a person makes a decision or a couple makes a decision to end their marriage,
Yeah.
it takes a lot that leads up to that.
Right.
And so those are stressful situations, because
Yes,
that you're breaking, your family structure. In particular, if children are involved, that's not something that you take lightly. And so there is to a degree, I don't know if necessarily with men, but with women in particular, there is a stigma there of, oh, she's middle-aged, or she's a divorcee, or God forbid, if she's been married more than once, she got to stay in that second marriage because anything after that, ooh, it's not going to end well for you, And so sometimes people feel trapped.
right. That's true. That's true.
Well, I think the first thing is you have to be delivered from the thoughts of people. Because one, people are not living the experience and out with you. So I think, it kind of goes back to what I was talking about, removing that for yourself and for others. You have to dismantle shame,
Yeah.
right? People are experiencing it. And divorce, it's a process. And so you will feel, Tanisha, I'm glad you brought up, you go through the process of grief. So you might have anger, you might have denial, you're having to shift through a new normal. So you really need to sit with those things and process those different things that you're feeling. You need to
Yes.
operate through forgiveness, not just of the other person, but you need to work on forgiving yourself because of the dynamics of your divorce. And each situation is different. And so
Yes.
you can't, one person goes through divorce for their reasons, another person goes through divorce for their reasons. But it takes two people in a situation. And so the reason for the divorce may lean heavily on one side, but we all contribute to the dismantling of a relationship. But as I said
Yeah.
before, divorce does not define you. It's something that you experience. It's something that happened to you, but it is not it's just part of your journey. It's a maybe an unexpected, unintended part of your journey, but it happened. Similar to just like if you get a sickness or unexpected diagnosis, it's not something that you plan for, but it's
Right.
happened to you. You
Right.
have a job loss. It's not something that you plan for, but it happened to you. Um, and with the right supports, with the right processing, with dealing with it, making sure that we're not individuals who are scorned, but individuals
Yes.
who are healed, you
Yes.
can bounce back. It takes time. It takes time to rebuild. It takes time. But if you trust the process, go through the process, learn in the process, heal in the process, you can be resilient. You can bounce back. You can live again. You can smile, but you will cry. You will feel pain, but it's
Yep.
not an everlasting pain. You have to put in the processes, the resources, the help, the support that you need to get through it. Um,
Mm,
and so you can't feel, I think shame is a huge one, that you cannot feel shame, one, for going through it, and
right.
two, for it happening to you. And we can't make people feel shame because of that loss. Because one, you don't know the stories, you don't know the details. You know a version of the story that you hear, you know a version of the story that was shared with you, but you
Right.
haven't lived the story. You know snippets and pieces, but only those two people who are involved in the story and maybe their children know the story. And so we have
That's
to be
true.
careful with the judgments, the assessments that we put on situations that we hear about, because you've not walked that story out. You don't know the totality of it in its truth.
That's
As they
right.
say, two sides to every story, and then there's a third side, probably,
That's
That's
because
right.
Jesus
right.
knows.
His, hers, and the truth. Oh my goodness. But yes, we make a jest of it, but it's so true and it's real. If you
And
ever went
divorce is
through it,
just
it's
one
real.
thing. There are many other
Mhm.
things that people go through.
Yes.
Divorce is one thing, so we can't make it bigger. We can maximize things, but it depends on how big you make it. Um,
Right.
if you help people opposed to hinder people as they're going through their processes, give support, give understanding, give a listening ear, and don't always give an opinion or
Yeah.
input. Sometimes people just need you to be present,
Yes.
because life is shifting. And if your life is still the same everything's good, be there with them in the shift, because that's what they need, your presence, not always your opinion, just your
Yes.
presence.
Oh, that's
That
good.
is
That's
so
good.
good.
Whew, we're gonna leave it. We're gonna end on that right there. Even though I could stay on here and go with that forever. Marlon said, Dr. Bryant, you are awesome.
Thank
And
you. I
yes, she
appreciate that.
is. We wish you could stay on here for another hour, but we know we're not paying you for your services, but we just
That's all right.
glad you came on.
I love I
Thank
love
you
I
because
love
you
talking
helped
about
some
this.
people.
I want to
Yes,
see
I
people
appreciate you.
healthy and well and just better, and
Yes,
walking freely. It's what we need,
yes,
especially
yes,
in
yes.
our faith-based communities.
Lashana, thank you. All
Hey,
the way out in
Shauna,
California.
how
Presence, not
are
always your
you?
opinion. Love that. Yes, I'll tell you what, that one right there can help you too. But you're making sure you take care of yourself. She will be she's a very good accountability partner, making sure you take care of yourself. So that's a very good compliment coming from Lashana. And thank you for joining us on today. Kisha, that was the fastest hour. I mean, it seemed like
We need you to come back.
I'll come back. I'll be
Okay.
we
glad
always
to.
call you back, and we appreciate you taking time to coming back. You all, if you just tuned in, please go back and watch the beginning. You don't want to miss these jewels. Jinx, thank you so much for tuning in on today. Thank you all for tuning in on today. Keisha, we'll be reaching out to your people again to have you back in a couple of Tuesdays. You
Anytime.
all have a great evening. Again, thank you for your comments. Thank you for being in the comment section. Check her out. Google her up, as my mama would say, and see what we can do to help you navigate this thing called life. All right. Y'all have a great evening. We'll see you next Tuesday,
Bye,
5
All
everyone.
p.m.
right.
Thank
Bye bye.
you.
Bye.
It's time for candid conversation. Conversation with Lady T and JT. It's time for candid conversation. Conversation J-T. Check out the show.